Some people might care, some people might be happy, some people might be angry, but from the way things are looking, Vultures 3 between Kanye West and Ty Dolla Sign is never happening. Now, I know a lot of people have different feelings and emotions on Vultures 3 by Kanye West and Ty Dolla Sign, but I think it's important for us to talk about that album during this video to really discuss where that album went regarding Vultures 3 and if it's happening or not, and why will it probably never happen or happen in the future. Now, I think it's important for us to start off with firstly, what even is the Vultures series? How did it even come to be, and where does it lead us now? And now, essentially, the Vultures 1 album was a collab project between Kanye West and Ty Dolla Sign. And this was something at the time that wasn't that much of a shock to people because Kanye West was always collaborating with Ty Dolla Sign throughout the years. We saw them on many songs together throughout the album Ye that came out in 2018, throughout the album The Life of Pablo in 2016, and etc. And during the year of 2022, when Kanye West was going through his cancellation with Alex Jones, we were hearing a lot of rumblings that Kanye was working on a collab album with Ty Dolla Sign called Vultures. And at the time, a lot of people were excited because we knew that they were a good duo musically, but it was just going to be very interesting to see how they ended up playing out into a whole collab project. And fast forward in that Vultures 1 era, they ended up dropping the album, and it had a lot of mixed receptions, with people thinking that Vultures 1 was a garbage album, some people thinking that Vultures album was a pretty decent album. But something that was very interesting about the public reception is that I didn't really see anybody in the public or just the media in general consider the Vultures 1 to be some sort of classic or a great Kanye album. It was really just considered as mediocre, the best, and just average, but nothing too crazy. And in my opinion, I was never crazy over Vultures 1. I mean, it was a decent album. You do have some good songs on there like Stars, Carnival, and Burn, but I feel like the lows are really low, and the album at times just gets very boring. And it doesn't sonically sound bad. There's just a type of vibe and atmosphere on that album that I just can't really get behind, and it doesn't make me feel like how I usually feel whenever I listen to a Kanye project, let alone a collab album. I mean, we do know that Kanye has had albums with Kid Cudi before, but I don't know, Vultures 1 just didn't really do it for me personally. And as for Vultures 2, this album was a complete mess. I mean, the public reception for this project was so bad that people consider it to be Kanye West's worst album ever, and just one of the worst albums to come out in the year of 2024, with Kanye West just having horrible raps in this album. And then he does have some verses that are AI, so obviously that is going to get a lot of people mad, and just a lot of incomplete ideas, incomplete thoughts. A lot of the deluxe songs that people were excited for when it came to this album were hidden behind a paywall. And the only redemption for this project is really Ty Dolla Sign, who Ty never really misses. He has a great voice, a great singer. He always works well whenever you can fit him into something, and he's really the only thing on this project that makes it listenable. And as the Vultures 1 and 2 era happened, this obviously just had people assuming that Vultures 3 was going to come out, and people were just wondering where it was. But what made this entire era interesting was, as Vultures 3 was approaching us, this is when Kanye West went on his crazy Twitter rant early in February, where he was saying the most ridiculous and diabolical stuff ever. And with that happening, a lot of people were now thinking that Vultures 3 was never going to happen, because how can Ty Dolla Sign be on an album and just be seen with someone like Kanye, who is so volatile and most likely could just destroy his career? And at that time in February, when Kanye West was losing his mind, we saw that in a way. I mean, Ty Dolla Sign was going on Instagram basically condemning everything Kanye was saying by saying that he doesn't affiliate and he doesn't associate himself with any sort of hate speech, and he's not anti-Semitic. And now, he didn't say Kanye West's name verbatimly, but we all know he was obviously talking about Kanye, because at the time Kanye was the only person in the media being anti-Semitic and saying crazy things. And then we saw Kanye West kind of react to that in a certain way by saying that he felt, sad that Ty Dolla Sign, someone who he was working with, basically diss him in a way. and try to distance himself, even though they were working together on all of these albums. And at that point, little by little, we just saw Kanye and Ty Dolla Sign further distance himself from each other, because Kanye went on his own way to just do his own things, and then Ty Dolla Sign started to focus more so on his solo career, which is obviously thriving right now. And now everybody's just kind of wondering what happened to Vulture Street, and will this ever be happening? And in my opinion, we're definitely never going to be getting this album, and I think it's for the best. Over the past few months, there has been some interviews where Ty Dolla Sign is being asked about Vulture Street, and a lot of his responses to these questions are just vague stuff that nobody really knows, of him saying stuff like he'd like it to happen, you know, Vulture Street would be a cool idea. It's a lot of him just having hope and being optimistic, but it's never been something where he's fully confirmed of it having it.
You know, people have been asking about Vultures 3, like, is it done? Is it ever going to come out? What's, you know, anything you can share there?
There was a lot of music that was done. It could have been out at the time, but, how should I say this? 6, 7.
And my guess as to where this Vulture Street album is that Ty Dolla Sign is still down for it. And even though Kanye might be volatile, Ty Dolla Sign clearly sees the positive of working with Kanye, and that's just getting bigger exposure. So I do think Ty Dolla Sign is open to the idea of Vulture Street, but I don't think he's banking on it. I don't think he's begging. I don't think he's necessarily hoping for it to happen. He's down for it. But it's really up to Kanye to really either just call Ty Dolla Sign and orchestrate it, or just pull the plug and not want to do it. But it's really in Kanye's hands. And with that being said, I really do think that Vulture Street is never going to be happening. And the reason why is because we've just seen Kanye over the past few months work on so many different projects. I mean, he's going to stuff like crypto. He's working on stuff like his album Bully. We're hearing rumors that he's working on a brand new project of In a Perfect World. He's doing these concerts overseas in South Africa and just Japan. And it just doesn't seem like Kanye West is in the headspace anymore to be working on a collab album. And if he was, it would probably be a solo project. And honestly, I don't think anybody should be surprised or angry by this, because Kanye West has always talked about upcoming albums that never ended up actually happening. And even when it comes to collab albums, we heard this similar thing when he was working with Jay-Z. He confirmed himself that Watch the Throne 2 was going to be happening, and well, that project never ended up happening. The same thing with Jesus King 2. He said that that project was happening, and well, that album never ended up dropping. And I think it's going to be a similar scenario here with Vultures 3, that we're hearing a lot of rumblings about this project, and people are still going to be asking Ty Dolla Sign to this day, but it's just never going to drop. And I think it's honestly for the best, because I think the Vultures 1 and Vultures 2 albums were never really a good projects. They just didn't really move the needle for Kanye. And the last solo album we have from him is Donda, and I feel like Donda was a spectacular album. It was a phenomenal album. And I think everybody's just in the headspace now that they want to hear a solo Kanye West album, and they don't want to have any influences from outside artists like Ty Dolla Sign, even though Ty Dolla Sign is a good artist nonetheless. And it just feels like everybody wants to hear a Kanye West solo album with all the stuff he's been going through with the cancellation and the In Whose Name movie, and him working on the Yeezy Season 10 and all this shit that has just been happening to his life. I feel like people are very intrigued to hear a solo album, to hear what he has to say personally, because we do know that when you work on a collab album, it is very hard to make it about yourself, because you have to obviously leave room for another artist to do whatever they want to do musically. And I feel like Kanye would never have been able to do that on Vultures 3, because even on Vultures 2 and 1, we never really hear a Kanye song that he's being personal, or Ty Dolla Sign. And that's just because it's a collab project. So the way you have to approach those projects is more so just having fun songs, having sad songs, but introspective tracks on collab albums never really happen, because the space to do it is difficult. And with that being said, I just think that Vultures 3 doesn't have a place in time right now in 2025 or 2026. And I just don't ever think it will have a place. I just feel like the Vultures 1 and Vultures 2 albums, they were experiments that failed badly. And every time I think about that era, it just, I don't know, it's not a pleasant era. It's just so many shit was happening. The music wasn't even that good. And I just feel like Kanye definitely got that quote-unquote wash status from that era, so it's better just to leave it in the past. I feel like I'm yapping though, so what do you guys think about the entire situation? Did you guys want to see Kanye and Ty Dolla Sign come back for Vultures 3, or you guys don't care about that era? In my opinion, I feel like let's just move on from it and not care about it and just work on that solo album for Kanye. But what do you guys think? Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, hype up the video. Let me know, guys. Peace.